Everyone, welcome back. I know you're all about making the most of your time, so let's get right to it.
Yeah, today we're diving deep into a motivational speech that really packs a punch.
It's called Get Up and Get It Done.
And it's full of actionable tips to boost your motivation and help you, well, get things done.
And it's kind of funny. We're
Yeah.
sitting here having this relaxed conversation,
Right?
but the speech is all about taking action. So let's see if we can bridge that gap.
Yeah, let's do it.
One of the first things that really jumped out at me was this idea that today matters.
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy to get caught up in that someday thinking, someday I'll start that project, or someday I'll finally go after that dream.
Right. And then someday never comes.
Exactly. This speech really hammers home the point that putting things off just makes them harder to start.
It's like that whole snooze button dilemma, right? 5 more minutes feels so good in the moment, but then we end up rushing and feeling behind all day.
That's such a great analogy. The speech actually talks about hitting that snooze button as a pattern of choosing comfort over action. Instead, what if we started our day with intention getting up when that alarm goes
How
off?
on the day?
Exactly.
Okay, but even with all the intention in the world, sometimes it takes more than just good vibes to get things done. The speech talks about how greatness often requires sacrifice.
Right. It doesn't shy away from the hard stuff at all. It talks about dedicating time, even when it means giving up something else you enjoy. Like, maybe you love binge watching shows, but you have a big work deadline. You might have to sacrifice some of that leisure time to really make it happen.
So it's about making choices, right?
Right.
Trading Netflix for nailing that goal.
Yeah, and remembering that feeling of accomplishment we were talking about earlier that often comes after making those tough choices.
Okay, this next point is interesting. It sounds a little backwards. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know.
It's a head scratcher.
Right. It seems counterintuitive at first. But the speech really digs into this idea that growth happens outside of our comfort zones. It even uses the example of a marathon runner, pushing through pain to achieve something extraordinary.
I can't even imagine running a marathon.
Me neither.
But, thinking about it, have you ever learned something new without at least a little bit of struggle? It's like whether it's learning a new skill or tackling a tough project at work, those uncomfortable moments are what help us grow.
They really do. And this is a key point. No one can force us to embrace those challenges. It's up to us. Self-motivation is key.
It's so true. It reminds me of that saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. No matter how much encouragement we get from others, we've got to find that drive within ourselves.
Absolutely. And the speech really pushes you to think about what fuels that drive. Is it that feeling of accomplishment? Is it proving something to yourself? Maybe it's the desire to make a difference. Once you know what motivates you, you can tap into that energy when things get tough. And speaking of getting tough, that's where discipline comes in.
Discipline. Not always the most fun topic, but
I know, right? But the speech makes a really important distinction between discipline and motivation. Motivation can come and go, but discipline is about making those choices that align with your goals, no matter how you feel in the moment.
so on those days when your motivation's gone on vacation, discipline is what keeps you going.
Exactly. The speech actually shares a story. It's about a successful entrepreneur who built their entire business while battling a chronic illness. They didn't let their physical limitations dictate their actions. They relied on discipline. And the speech also emphasizes that consistency is crucial. Small, consistent actions, they're so much more impactful than, those bursts of energy that fizzle out quickly.
Like going to the gym once a year versus making time for a quick workout every morning.
Exactly. It's not about being perfect every day. It's about showing up and doing the work even when you don't feel like it. Think of it like compound interest. Small contributions over time can lead to huge growth.
I love that analogy. And speaking of growth, one of the biggest things the speech highlights is the importance of mindset.
Oh, mindset is everything.
Right.
It's not just some feel-good fluff either. There's real science behind it. Your beliefs about yourself, your abilities, it directly affects your actions and your outcomes.
So how do we actually shift our mindset to that can-do attitude?
The speech offers a few really practical techniques. One is practicing gratitude. Instead of focusing on what you lack, try shifting your attention to what you have. It's a simple mental shift, but it can have a huge impact on your outlook.
I like that, focusing on the positive. What else?
Another technique is visualization. Imagine yourself achieving those goals, feeling that sense of success. It might sound a little woo-woo, but it actually primes your brain for action.
So we've got to fuel our motivation, embrace challenges, cultivate that positive mindset. And, on those days when it all feels a bit much, lean on that discipline. But I'm curious, what does the speech say about those days when our feelings just don't cooperate?
Well, that's where we have to remember we all have those excuses, those little voices that try to hold us back.
Oh, absolutely. Those excuses are sneaky.
They really are. So here's a challenge for you. What's one excuse you're ready to let go of?
Hmm. Something for everyone listening to think about, right?
Yeah.
To recognize those excuses and choose action instead.
Exactly. And remember, even small changes can lead to big results. Just start with one step today. What will it be?